Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is John Tiliakos. That's John-Tiliakos. And I'm the Executive Vice President of Airport Operations here at Tampa International Airport. I have with me Commissioner Harry Cohen. And Commissioner Cohen, as all of you may know, is on our board of directors. So what I'd like to do this afternoon is give you an update on what our plans are at Tampa International Airport and what our operational posture is going to be over the next 36 to 48 hours as Hurricane Helene heads toward Florida. Currently, and we work very, very closely with our partners at the National Weather Service. We've been tracking this storm system for a number of days now, working closely with the chief meteorologist at the National Weather Service. And so currently we're expecting 40 to 45 mile an hour sustained winds here at the airport with gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. Tampa International Airport, as you know, is in very close proximity to Tampa Bay, and we expect to see storm surge of as much as 5 to 8 feet. And so from a safety perspective, we've decided to do what we believe is in the best interests of our passengers, our employees, and our airport infrastructure. And so we are going to suspend all commercial passenger and cargo operations beginning at 2 a.m. tomorrow, 2 a.m. Thursday morning. And what this does for us is it gives us enough time to secure our airport. And that includes our airfield, that includes our jet bridges. We have 58 gates, 58 jet bridges to secure, our shuttles, our train, ground equipment, and all of our construction zones. As you know, we have a fair amount of construction going on at the airport. And we want to make sure that we secure our airport in advance of the onset of tropical storm force winds. And it takes us anywhere from 8 to 10 plus hours to make sure our airport is fully secure. We're also concerned about storm surge that could lead to flooding on our airfield, on our runways, and our roadways. So we're mindful of that. And let me share this with you as well. Shutting down an airport is obviously very, very disruptive to our travelers. It is not something that we take lightly. It is not something that we like to do. And we put a lot of thought and planning and precision into making that decision. But at the end of the day, we have to do what we believe is in the best interest of the safety of our airport, the 10,000 employees that work out here, and of course, our travelers. So we're going to reopen the airport as quickly and as safely as we possibly can and get our travelers back to flying again. We anticipate reopening sometime Friday after we're able to have our operational personnel get out and inspect our airfield, inspect our runways. The FAA will want to get out on the airfield and inspect all of the navigational aids that pilots rely on. And as a reminder to the general public, the airport is not a place of refuge, so please do not come to the airport unless you have official business here. Do not bring your car, your boat, your camper. The parking garages will be shut down. And passengers should stay in close contact with their airline. Your airline will provide you with the flight information you need. The airport does not have that at its disposal. And finally, I would encourage all of our travelers to follow us on social media and visit tampaairport.com for the latest updates. And so before I open it up to any questions, I want to give Commissioner Cohen an opportunity to say a few words. Commissioner?
Thank you very much, John, and I'm going to be very brief, but I want to say that the message from the airport squares exactly with what Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa are saying, and that is that if you live in evacuation zone A, if you are near the coast, this really is going to be, at its worst, a flooding event. And so the airport is low-lying, and it's going to have to assess how it reacts to whatever the storm surge is. Could be something around 4 to 8 feet, and proceed from there. So that's our word to everyone, is that if you're in the way of the water, evacuating the water for that Thursday and into Friday. That's the thing that people have to do.
Thanks, Commissioner. Okay, we'll open it up to any questions you may have.
I know you said sometime Friday, but do you know if it's Friday morning, Friday afternoon? Are you thinking for reopening?
Yeah, great question. So we will make that decision tomorrow, later tomorrow. The key for reopening Friday is, one, we need to make sure that we've done an assessment of our airfield, and as I said earlier, that our runways, our taxiways, all of our navigational aids are in good shape. And then if in fact we end up having water on the airfield from storm surge, we'll want to wait until that water has receded and it's off our runways, out of our safety areas. The National Weather Service expects that any water that may accumulate on our airfield should recede sometime between 8 and 10 a.m. But the goal is going to be to reopen as quickly but as safely as we possibly can.
And if some of the travelers don't have money to, like, let's say, get a hotel, will they be allowed to stay here if their flight is canceled?
No, they won't be allowed to stay at the airport simply because winds will be strong enough that we won't be able to support anyone from an emergency, from a medical emergency response perspective. So if anyone is at the airport, what we are going to do is make arrangements to get them to a nearby shelter.
Can you talk a little bit about if there's any flights that are delayed coming into the airport and they're late coming flights? You guys are anticipating to close at 2 a.m., but are you accounting for any flights that may kind of fall close to that time frame?
So the various airlines and their dispatch centers will be able to determine in advance of that flight departing the upline city on whether it's going to be able to get in time, in before the closure at 2 a.m. And if they don't believe they can get in, then they won't come in. Other questions?
What goes into making these decisions? Obviously, these decisions affect thousands of people, but tell us about that, path you go through.
Yeah, great question. As I shared earlier, we never take this decision lightly. We never want to close the airport. It's considered critical infrastructure. 70 to 80,000 passengers a day rely on our airport being open and functional so they can travel. So we have to, what we take into account is first and foremost the safety of all of our people out here, but also the safety of our infrastructure, making sure that we take all of the necessary steps to secure the airport and all of the key components of the airport, whether it's our shuttles, whether it's our jet bridges, all of the key facets of the airport that we rely on. The better a job we do ahead of the storm in buttoning up the airport, then the greater the likelihood that we will be able to reopen quicker and without issue.
John, to that point, can you touch quickly on the partnerships, the FAA, TSA, National Weather Service, and how those conversations inform our...
Yes, so these are, you know, the decision to close the airport is arrived at through a collaborative effort. We work very closely with the FAA, the TSA, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the National Weather Service. There's a variety of stakeholders that we collaborate with before we get to that decision, because we rely on those entities to be up and running too, and to have personnel here so that we can operate.
How are you guys taking care of the personnel who will be securing the airport? I mean, are they staying in a safe area away from the evacuation?
Yeah, great question. So we have a team of storm riders, as we call them, and it's a group of some of our very best employees across the Aviation Authority, and they come from a variety of disciplines, from within maintenance, police, operations, and that group of storm riders will remain here at the airport, and they make sure that once the storm has passed, that they are the first to go out, do an assessment post-storm, and then take all of the steps we need to take to unwind what we did to get the airport back up and running.
The weather's bad. A good chunk of these flights would be canceled or delayed anyway. So does this closing the airport early kind of give people a chance to make other plans?
It does. It does. You know, the last thing we want to do is keep the airport open under very adverse weather conditions. and you have flights that airlines that may decide to fly, they attempt to land here, they can't land. And we see that quite regularly during the summertime when you have an afternoon thunderstorm, right? So those flights end up diverting to Orlando or to Fort Lauderdale or to Miami or Sarasota. And now you've got passengers that are here that can't get out, and you've got passengers that were destined for Tampa that are stuck somewhere else. So we don't want to put people in that position.
When the operations team goes out after the storm to do the damage assessment, what are the key things that they'll be looking for? What are the things that have to be working for you to remain open, considering there could be water that gets onto the airfield?
Yeah, the most critical part of our business is the airfield. Without a viable, safe airfield, you don't have an airport. And so the ops team is going to make sure, together with the FAA has a group of tech ops folks, so together with the FAA, we will make sure that our runways, our taxiways are all safe for aircraft operations. And the FAA is also going to want to make sure that the navigational aids, whether it's runway lighting, whether it's the ILS system, all of the navigational aids that pilots depend on to get in safely, especially during adverse weather conditions. Any other questions?
Those storm riders, obviously self-explanatory, they'll be here the whole time, flying out the storm, monitoring everything.
They certainly will.
How many storm riders are there?
We have in excess of 100 storm riders. Doesn't necessarily mean we need them all here at the same time or for every event, but we have a pretty large group of them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.